it and I put words on it.
Gotcha. What programs did y'all use?
I use CMV.
Whatever
Premiere.
the computer says.
Probably Premiere.
There might be some of you who probably already know all the stuff we're gonna say.
Sorry, we're gonna go over it.
We're gonna go over it anyways because we're okay at what we do.
I'm just gonna slight intro and stuff. So obviously, I'm Amy. This is Josh. We've put together a couple videos and stuff before. I personally have been doing this for, now I think about it, 5 years.
Don't think about it too much, Amy. Don't think about it.
I started this back in high school where I was editing videos for our basketball team and making montages and stuff, and along to the music and having anything timed. I liked it so much I actually got hired by the high school to make the videos for it. So, and I took about a 2-year break. And I got back in editing with the cosplay stuff. So it's been really good to get back in editing. And so I've edited about 3 different programs now. So if you guys have any questions, like not programs besides Premiere, just let me know. They're usually all pretty much the same. You just have to find out what everything is. So either way, I don't know if you want to play a little bit of it.
Do we? Sure, we'll play it. Or not? We didn't think this through. We're bad at planning, which is ironic considering what we're about to say.
Oh my god.
We're gonna start.
So we're starting with planning.
Right. So.
Yeah, when you plan for a video and stuff, if you're gonna get something very specific, for example, a con, and you have time beforehand, this is what we did for our dice show video. We actually went from each beat and decided.
I'll do this part.
You want to do this part?
Okay. You're rambling again.
I'm rambling.
So. There's a lot of, different ways to make videos. You can choose to film it first and then pray that you'll find a song that it'll fit to. Or you can, pick your song first and then plan around it. One of those is easier. Guess. Pick your song first. For the love of all that is good and holy, pick your song first.
And we'll tell you why later.
Yeah.
And, or if you want to go the other route, which
you
I've
can.
done. When I did the basketball stuff, I had, honestly, hours and hours and hours of footage. And you can cut it down, you just have to sift through a lot. And I've done road trips too where I've taken hours of footage and cut it down to a 3-minute video. But yeah, you have to make sure you have more than you need. Don't try to get it just right. Always have more footage than you need, because if you have less than you need, it's horrible to stretch it out.
Yeah. So what we ended up doing for this video was we kind of timed everything out really specifically, mostly because we just wanted to know how many shots we needed. You probably don't need to go quite this specific, but do know roughly how many shots you're going to need, and then film 2 or 3 times that much.
Exactly.
Never film exactly what you need or even close to it. Always overshoot by a large margin. You'd rather have extra than not enough. We cannot stress that enough. It is a pain to work with if you don't have enough.
This also helps too because if, for a creative standpoint, you want to have a video that's pretty evenly based on a lot of things. I've had people who forget to film all of Friday and then or then half of Sunday, or almost all Saturday, and then try to push out all of their filming on Saturday and Sunday, not knowing exactly, so their video is very, 2 shots of this cosplay, and then the rest of the video is just the other cosplay.
So for this one, we ended up with 3 or a few hours of film for a 3-minute video.
Yeah, like I said, always overshoot. So the next thing when it comes to getting the video, let's say you go and you get the shots and stuff. Your first step of editing is file manipulation. That sounds weird, but basically, first thing you need to do is to get your song, and you surprisingly don't need to buy it. This may be slightly. Bye, Patrick.
Bye.
Thank you.
Do the arguably illegal thing, but the infinitely easier thing.
Always look up a converter. YouTube to MP3, or MP3 from YouTube. They're very simple to find. They're sometimes a little sketchy, but I haven't gotten any viruses yet.
I don't know if I can post this on the YouTube page.
Get edited out. Thank you.
So, fix it in post.
Exactly.
I hate you.
And but also this is not only applies to getting songs from YouTube, but I was also when I was also doing the videos for high school, I get paid just to convert files. A lot of people don't know. You can just go on, if you know the file type, MOV to MP4. Like, yeah, exactly.
Try your stuff in MP4. Most editing softwares will prefer MP4. I know Premiere does not work with .mov at all.
But I do know that other editing software sometimes does, so you just have to kind of play around with it. So for example,
MP4 will usually work though.
Yes.
If you don't know, just go with MP4.
And so, yes, and then after that so once you finally have all of your stuff, they're all into MP4, you have your song that you've already downloaded from the internet into a MP3 file now. So then you go into your program, and I've already started to send my videos so we can show some stuff. And you import all of your music. This is importing and saving.
Oh, yeah. Well, I guess the first thing would be these bars up here. This one is pretty much useless. Just gonna say it, it's pretty much useless. You will get lost here.
We import all the media into that.
Yeah, so this little corner here is where you import your stuff. On a blank file, I can probably open a new one just to show it. That's what I'll do.
Yeah.
So, as you do with everything, file, new,
Wait.
project. Or Control-Alt-M, as you said. We're going to leave it untitled. Don't want to leave it there. Okay.
Is it gonna try to pull another one on top of it though? Oh, we did. Okay. What?
Well, what? Okay, we're going to come in control-Z that after. But yeah, you import it here. Right-click, import, and just
Select.
find your files. We have a ton here. These are from.
This is all of mine.
This is all your stuff.
From my drive.
Yes. So what can we go control-Z?
Also, if you guys are working with several people and stuff, utilize Google Drive. Google Drive is, I swear by it.
It is a lot better.
It's wonderful, and you can put them all into Google Drive and delete them off your phone or off your camera. It'll just stay in Google Drive, and then they can access it and then manipulate it.
I will say, if you're going to use Google Drive, you may have to pay for
So like the 100 terabyte.
Yeah, because I ran out of space on mine.
It's really good though.
But I also was
It's like
uploading
$2.
RAWs to it. Don't do that. Don't upload. That's a photographer thing, but still, don't upload RAW files. Upload JPEGs or other stuff.
When it comes to those two, like external hard drives are really great
Yes.
for keeping all the extra footage.
Get an external hard drive. Get 2 external hard drives. Have backups because, fun fact, a lot of editing software is really temperamental. It likes to crash. I think in the process of creating one of our videos, we had Premiere crash about 100 times.
Not even exaggerating.
Yeah, I think there were nights where we just couldn't work because every 5 seconds it would just crash. So we couldn't even get anything done. So have backups because sometimes the file crashing can corrupt it and then all of a sudden you have to start over. So backups are the best thing you can do. I have this backed up on here and on here, and I think I have it on Google Drive as well now.
Yep. That's why I always, again, Google Drive.
Yeah, I have a hard drive. Yeah, back everything up, and kind of along with that, save regularly. Keep saving. Do not be afraid to just spam save repeatedly for. Yeah, I can't tell you the amount. I don't say amount of times, but the couple times where I'll work on a clip because a couple seconds of a video you can work on for like half an hour. Depending on how frequently you do cuts. And the more cuts, I usually say, the better video is because it's more engaging. But then again, you spend a lot of time on a certain part, and then if you get it crashes and you lose all of it, you forgot to save. That's another 30
hour of your
minutes
work
to
gone.
an hour of work. Yes.
Gone. So now we're going to go
now
into
it's on you.
Yeah.
You want to switch?
Yes.
Okay. This is the part where you're better.
So I've already started a little bit, which I'm going to. Hopefully it doesn't blare.
Oh, because it's muted.
Oh, it's
Here.
muted. I started a video from when I went to Anime Senpai with one of my friends in Missouri. Oh, this is going to be loud. Hold on.
Oh, my computer's being loud. That's why. That's easier if you do it.
Oh.
Play it again.
You think I know this?
There you go.
So the more shot, I'm doing every couple beats. 4
beats.
1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
So, yeah.
I tend to pick songs that have that 4 beat. And then you kind of go
Awesome.
So yeah, that's
Just our kind of philosophy with it. What did you do this?
There, I got it.
Oh, okay.
I got it.
Yeah, our kind of philosophy with it is to we do like to base it off of the music because it's easier to edit that way. So what we did here is, okay, on Premiere you have all of these channels, and you can layer things into all of these however you wish. The top 3 are for video, the bottom 3 are for audio. What we ended up doing was for this, we put in the,
Here, I can show it.
it's at the top, isn't it? Yes. This is the song that we used from YouTube, and we put it into this first audio channel. And then whenever we put in the other things, we just didn't put in the audio with them. You can turn that off by unlinking it.
Yeah, I was gonna show that.
Yeah. You can turn that off by unlinking it. So,
Sorry.
oh, it's already off, yeah. Right there. So yeah, see you'd have the video and the audio. That's how it'll normally be.
With audio of it as well.
Yeah, so you can see the audio down there, or down there. That's the original audio from the clip. Jesus Christ.
I know, I keep messing up, sorry.
No, it's
Alright.
me bumping it.
Okay, and so how to unlink it, if you need to manually unlink this, is you right click on it, and right up here,
It's right
unlink.
there.
So that way, you can just go down here.
Delete it set.
Why? This is why I need right here. Okay. Go on here, right click, or you can hotkey it, but just cut or delete,
You can just hit the delete button.
either way.
Yeah.
And then you can just move this around as you will now.
Yeah,
So I'm
so
just gonna
that's
delete that.
that.
Keep
Another
that.
thing is that thing at the bottom that you see Amy manipulating, that controls how zoomed in you are. So, when you're working, sometimes you'll want to see your entire piece all together. Sometimes you'll really want to focus in on one piece when you're, cutting up the video, like you want to cut it at exactly the right frame, you zoom all the way in. Yeah, that's what that is.
Also, besides unlinking every single clip, you can just, over here, click off the AV one. And so when you bring in the same clip, it's just the visual, there's no audio. Which is, it took me a while to find out, but it's wonderful. So you don't have to worry about the audio, you can just hear the one you put down. From that, I can show a simple putting in a clip and cutting it.
Just basically the entire, the most basic part of the process is just putting in a video clip and cutting it to whatever length you want it or whatever start or end point you want it. If you're doing something more narrative and not really focused on the music, you obviously have at least an idea of where you want the shot to start and where you want it to end. If you're basing it more off the music, you'll have a set time, so you kind of have to choose, if you have a 12-second clip, you might only be able to use 3 seconds of it, at least for that particular part of the video. So you just have to judge. That's kind of where the planning ahead comes in, of knowing that, okay, this is what I want the shot to be, so yeah.
And so, for example, I'm going through the stuff, I kind of re-look over the video. Also, this is something personal. If you are doing a video, pick a song that hopefully you won't hate after hearing 15 million times in a row, because you will be going over and over and over again listening to just certain parts. So I'll look over the video because I'm going back into my project, looking at what it was. Alright, so I'm looking at what I want and stuff. I want to be from the same day that we're still in the same cosplays and everything. But I'm probably looking for more of a hallway shot. This is another small tip. If you're looking for a video that's more engaging, kind of like in the beginning where I had 2 shots of the road, then 1 shot's inside the car, and then more shots on the road, and then 1 shot's in the car. Definitely mix it up where it's not the same thing for many cuts in a row. Try to mix it up so it's definitely more engaging for the audience. It'll stick with the video and it'll be more entertaining. So, and that's why I say always get as many shots as you can, because sometimes maybe you'll realize that the shot you wanted, like the dice show video planning thing, we didn't stick to it word for word, but it definitely did help us get a lot of 15 minutes. But then we realized later, it's like, oh, one person from the group for the group shot didn't end up coming to our group, so we actually had to work around that and put something else in there, but at least we had the shots.
We had enough material to work with to fill in those gaps that we couldn't really predict.
So, alright, I'm looking at the shot from the vendor hall. I think I definitely want it to end on the 4th beat with my person, my friend coming into the shot, so I kind of like that. So we're going to try to cut it here and see where it lands. So this right here is the cut tool, the razor tool. So right over here, I'm going to go right there.
It will
cut.
magnetize to wherever the cursor is, so that's
click.
pretty helpful.
Ripple delete is what you click, because it'll go straight to the edge of the other one. So now we go back a little bit. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's not exactly where I want it to be. So we're still gonna go probably a little bit back, right around here. It's a lot of just
Trial and error.
trial and error, guess and play. Yeah.
It's a lot of trial and error. It's not a fast process.
You definitely have to be patient with a lot of this, because once you
I don't
get
think
more.
Yeah, it doesn't even matter how long you've done it. Like, you'll get a better sense of the timing for sure, but it's still a lot of just trying to see what fits, what looks good there, what doesn't.
And yeah, it's a lot of I was gonna say something I totally forgot.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
It's a lot of trial and error.
Well, especially when you get more and more things in the editing software, the slower and slower it's gonna work. So like, for example, once we were 2.5 minutes into our 3.5 minute video for Dice Show, it crashed. The crash rate is a lot more. You just have to be a lot of like, just really patient. It takes a lot more time to load each like clip in and everything. You just
I think
be
by
really
the
patient.
end of the Dice Show one,
You're
it
just
took about
done.
10 minutes
for it to load.
for Premiere to start and for the file to actually open up. Like, this one took maybe 30-40 seconds. If you start adding a lot to it, like, this is only less than 30 seconds
We
of
should
actual
actually
footage.
bring up the Dice Show video.
I think my computer's like actually acting okay now, so it's not taking that long. We're
One
not
second.
doing that because I don't hate my computer.
Okay, 1 second. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it's right before I want it.
Another thing to know, something that me as someone who also does a lot of stuff with music outside of this is something that you can actually look at. You can look at the audio here to kind of see the beats. It's a little bit hard to tell this zoomed out, but you can actually kind of see where some of the beats are. Don't mess with it. Oh, hey, you
Just
can.
show 'em this.
There we go. Yeah, you can see where the beats are. It tells you. It's your friend. You can cut directly on those beats if you can, like, you know.
For example, it started the actual like, wow, the music when it started up, when it actually started showing footage. You can see exactly where that spiked right there.
Yeah.
And you can see at other points in the song where it actually will spike and everything.
Right.
It's kind of cool. See, example, there's where the melody, like the actual chorus starts.
Yes. So using that to help you work is also extremely helpful because you don't.
You want your video to go with.
Yes, if you're doing something to music, your video should
It's more
probably go with the music.
It always doesn't have to, depends on
It
the
doesn't
song.
have to, but it helps a lot.
It does. And especially if you have like a more electronic song, it's usually almost 4/4 time. Like
Always
these ones,
4/4
and
time.
And it's
Not always. I'll take that
our Dice
back.
Show one was like that, and like they're very fun, poppy songs that they are like we call
They're easy, to
montage
work,
music.
they're easy to work with.
They're very easy to work with. I highly
4/4
recommend.
music is easy to work with because it is the most. There's a reason it's called common time. It's quite common.
And it's really easy to work with. If you ever need some recommendations for a song, like I definitely come to me. I listen to stuff from like
Listen to so
NCS, Monster Cat,
Jim Yosef.
99 Lives. These are actually, well, the ones I'm listing off are actually companies that take other artists that are like this and stuff, and they kind of put it onto one YouTube channel. So you have all these different artists you can choose from with different times.
They're also generally royalty free.
Yeah, exactly. That's also a reason why it's like.
They're
don't get
generally
sued.
royalty free as well.
Hold on. So
If
one
you
more
want
time.
to monetize something, being royalty free is probably a good idea.
One, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah.
I like that. All right.
So
we're gonna
then
do that right there.
you're a little bit, yeah.
So now it will be off then.
Just hit the delete button at that point. Hotkeys are your friend, and just because Amy's stubborn doesn't mean you have to be stubborn. I'm saying that because Amy is stubborn about the ripple delete.
File.
I will call you out on this.
Save.
Oh yeah, save. Once you get it, like, once you get to a point where you're relatively comfortable that it's what you want, even just the tiniest little bit, save it. Because we just spent, even with all the talking, we spent like, what, 10 minutes on that one little clip?
Well, we got distracted, but.
Yes, but we still, even outside of that, we spent like, 5-10 minutes on that one clip. And if Adobe just decided to crash right before Amy saved, that's 10 minutes of work you have to redo. It may not be exactly how you like it again. You may not be able to find all your stuff the exact same way. Save often, save regularly.
Save is your best friend.
Just do it.
Yeah. I don't know much else. We show effects like a fade.
Well, yeah, that's my stuff. That's on my end.
Oh yeah, that's you. So
So,
you've got audio.
yes, the next bit that's going to make me want to cry.
So remember the reason we said they always get more shots than you need to is because you don't want to mess with the audio. Because even the audio looks really.
Oh yes, okay. So we're going to start with basic kind of effects and stuff, and I guess kind of color correction. It's a thing you can actually do. So you know how in Photoshop you can color correct? I've been actually doing with this before.
Okay, go ahead. I was
Highlights are
the
killing
one.
me. Sorry, your highlights are killing me.
Yeah, I
So
know.
for effects,
Telly.
color correction, all that stuff, you go to the effects tab. It'll take a moment to load because it's like that. So you have all of your effects here, video effects and transitions. For color correction specifically, you're going to want to go to effects, color correction. I believe we're going to go with brightness and contrast. And you just drop it onto the clip. And you go to here. You edit it as if it were a picture. So you'd want to find a point in the clip that's fairly representative of the whole clip or like the median. I actually want to turn that. Okay. So yeah, there's brightness and contrast, like that. You have color balance. That's the next one I'm going to do. That's red balance. That's the balance of your colors in your shadows and highlights. Like here, this would be a highlight. Her hair here would be a shadow. The in-between colors are your midtones. It's fairly self-explanatory. I think I should look for channel mixer. Never remember which one it is. No, it's not that either. There's a lot of them. I'm pretty sure brightness contrast was what I want. But yeah, that's here. You can also affect the opacity if you want to layer things on top of each other. Obviously here we don't have things layered on top of each other, but say you had this clip here and a clip right on top of it, you can actually change the opacity of the upper clips to let this clip show through, or kind of have them layered on top of each other. That's how you do that.
With like the one face is just like what, and then in the background there's just like another face, like in the sky and stuff. Like
that's generally done with opacity. That's usually done with opacity. So that's pretty self-explanatory. That's pretty much just the color correction. If you want me to go into detail, that's probably another few hours of talking because
just go to Josh.
If you do any editing with photos, it's pretty much the same thing. The other thing that is a little bit more annoying sometimes is transitions. So you can see how all of these cuts are pretty sharp and almost jarring. And you know what? A lot of times that'll be fine. Sometimes you'll want it to, fade into the next shot. So you have all of these different transitions. You have swipes and whatever. The ones that we prefer using are cross dissolve.
Oh yeah.
So for here, you'll grab it just like you did with the other effect, but instead of putting it on here, it'll actually go to these little flags here. There we go. Come on, there we go.
There we go.
So this is actually, this window up here allows you to further fine-tune your transition. Because there's a really weird thing that Premiere Pro does with your transitions. How the transition works is that it's taking footage from this clip and this clip and layering them together to create that dissolve. So it's actually cutting into this clip just a hair and this clip just a hair and layering them together.
So this timing that we were trying to do earlier, this kind of messes it up
It
just
messes
a
it up
slight.
a lot.
So that's where you have to go in and count it again, and then you have to extend the other part bit so it still fits your counting. But
Yes, it does. It's not usually that big of a deal. The
it's
bigger issue
tiring.
comes somewhere else. It's this really weird thing that Adobe does, where sometimes it'll tell you that there's for some reason not enough footage to do a transition. In that case, one thing you can, the best thing I would recommend doing is messing with the placement of this. So see here, you can see that this is all kind of blacked out. That's saying that this isn't viable footage for the transition. I'll move it back over here. This is. I'm actually not sure how Adobe chooses what's good for transition or not. But it does, and you're generally wanting to minimize this as much as possible. You can have some, it doesn't always look bad, but it does sometimes make for jankiness where you have it look like the image is sitting still for no apparent reason. So this fades out like that, really nicely. But if you have it all the way out like this, I think this is gonna mess it up really badly, and that's the goal. So you see how it's like frozen like that. That's what it'll do. So when you're editing here, you can crop this down, lengthen it, shift its place, but generally your goal when doing that is to remove this. This is not your friend, this is. That's the transitions. That's pretty much all you would entirely need to know. Ooh, someone's playing Rainbow Six. Fun. Realistically, that's all you would need to know to make an effective, make an AMV or a CMV. With an AMV, you'd be generally taking the clips off of YouTube. Or other sites from animes.
Good night.
Yep, good night. For CMVs, you cosplay, you can filming it yourself.
But now, where would you put these?
Oh, well, there's one more thing.
Oh,
there's one more thing. Here's the reason. You pick your song first. And I will forever be slightly annoyed at Jules and Rosie for this. Forever. For absolutely.
I still hear this.
If you don't have enough footage for your song, say you pick your song afterwards, you're going to have to go in and either try to stretch that footage out, which is nearly impossible because the frame rate will be affected.
I'll show why.
Or you will have to edit the audio.
Uh-oh.
There's a problem with that. Let me show you why.
Just a small bit.
Let's just chunk here, here. Actually, we'll go to here as well.
Also, just let you know autosave is on, so like if it saves all.
That's what Control-Z is for.
Okay. Just making sure.
Control-Z is also your friend. Control-Z
Yes.
is undo. Completely forgot about that. Control-Z is your friend.
Hotkeys.
That's what I'm about to do after this. I'm using Dribble Delete here because it is a little bit easier. But you're about to see why you don't want to edit audio. That doesn't sound good, does it?
Ouch.
That sounds really bad.
So even though there was a different audio there and then on the other side, doesn't mean it's going to line up.
So you kind of just have to go all the way in like this and spend a couple hours to figure out exactly where the music lines back up. I had to do this with the song Demons by Imagine Dragons for Jules and Rosie's video from a few months ago. It was a nightmare. It was a legitimate nightmare. I did get it pretty well. There were parts that I could still personally hear some jankiness, but people generally wouldn't notice. But that's because you have to see, you can see all of these dips and drops. Yeah, these have to line exactly back up from before and after, basically. Which is not fun. It's a lot of work, and comes back.
Ever played Where's Waldo? Same goddamn thing.
Yeah, I think you can wrap this up in like 5 minutes?
Yep.
Absolutely. That's pretty much the last thing, honestly.
And we just talked about exporting and putting it onto YouTube.
So, yeah. The only other thing left is... Okay, actually, we're going to Control-Z, because I don't want to...
I'm just going to say some stuff about YouTube real quick.
Yeah, you work on the YouTube stuff.
Because I have uploaded stuff to YouTube. I had a channel, obviously, from when I was 15. Uploading my stuff I did for the school to now. Uploading vlogs where my family and I went... Not vlogs, it was more like montages. My family and I went cross-country road trips and everything. But basically when you upload it, it's going to have you, ask you if you want to have a thumbnail, if you want to choose a pre-rendered like clip of your video. For example, the one for our Daisha video is just a pre-rendered clip they chose. They're like, hey, do you want to use this clip? And I'm like, that little photo as your thumbnail? Like, I like that. Or some people, when they have like the title in the thumbnail, like Justin Pineda, if you ever watch his videos and stuff, basically you have to go into I usually use Google Docs, Google Drawings and stuff, but you need to have a specific pixel size for your thumbnail. YouTube will tell you.
Any photo or photo editing, image creation software can be used for this.
Because YouTube will tell you, hey, this needs to be this many pixels by this many pixels. So when you go into like Google Drawings, you need to go to like the size and everything, and go down to custom and stuff, and you have to put in, how many pixels by how many pixels, and it'll put the perfect, screen up for you, which you work with, and you can go from there.
Photoshop can do the same thing. I'm pretty sure any photo editing software has that. Pretty sure any drawing software should have that if it's remotely effective.
If you want your videos to be seen on YouTube, tags, tags, tags. Tags are your friends. Yes. Tag everything. Tag your channel name, what it's for, just anything relative to it, like Instagram tags. Same thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then now we're going to go to export. This is actually kind of a process. So you got to go down to export and then media, or you can just do Control M. That'd be generally easier. It takes a hot moment because
it has to render everything. Rendering will take
yes, it's rendering
hours.
this. So what it's doing is it's converting all of these individual clips into a single entity, and that can take a really long time depending on how much you put into it.
Our final Daisha video took several hours to render.
Yes, it did.
So.
Then what you're going to want to do is put the format as H.264. This is the exact same thing as MP4. This is the easiest one to use. Just do this. It's smart. Export video, export audio. If you, for some reason, don't want to export your audio, you can do that. If you know. And then this is exporting it for different qualities. So high quality 1080p, high bit rate. Facebook video has a completely different format to everything else. YouTube here as well. I think this also might export it straight to YouTube.
Sometimes it does. iSky software does do that.
And then you just hit export.
And you just wait.
And you wait.
Thankfully, this is really
short. So this will only take about a minute. And then once you export it, it'll tell you that you're done exporting, and you'll have a new MP4 file that is all of that as a single entity.
Also check which file it's going to. Usually goes to the same file that you got your stuff from, but
Yes. Another thing. Tell me, I literally just remembered. The naming. The naming is important. When you see that place where it says output, you want to click on that, and it'll basically just take you into the normal file explorer, and then from there, just kind of rename your stuff. Name all your stuff. Name your files. Organize them. Put them in folders.
It will save
separate them, because otherwise you will spend hours upon it. Yeah, that was a really quick one because it's really short and it's just audio mostly.
So now you can click on it.
And so now I can actually go to here.
Demo path. Wait.
I think it'll be in. I think it'll actually be up here.
Maybe in download.
No.
Do you think we'd know?
You think we know? We weren't paying attention because.
I wasn't.
It might actually be here.
Final.
Because it's wherever you put the audio.
It's called Untitled.
It's wherever you put the audio. Yeah.
Either way.
This is why you name things. This is the mistake we just made the mistake we told you not to make.
Press export, see where to put it to.
Actually, another thing is Control M. Should pull up the media page. This is pretty much other than naming it, did it not? Is it not? Is it being a dick? It's being
We're almost done, guys.
Come on, David. I named my computer David for anyone who wants to know. This is David. He's gone through way too much. I've had 4 video games and Photoshop open on at the same time. I've never heard a computer scream before.
Until David.
I never want to hear it again. You know what? Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
It's being slow.
Just play the Daisha video as an outro.
Yes.
So, for example.
Yeah, this is the video
example,
that we
obviously.
made.
So that's a pre-rendered one that YouTube's like, hey, here, want to try this?
Yes. So this, I guess, is our start. Let's start ads. No. Okay. Woo! You don't have to sit through all of this.
So yeah, and if it's kind of cool if you pull up the files, you can see actually where like almost all of it's color corrected. Like Josh did a wonderful job color correcting almost all of this.
I'm not opening that up. I refuse to open that back up.
That's fine. This is so valid.
So yeah.
Planning your shots, so stuff like this just looks great. All the stuff in the theme park was
Yes. All the stuff in the
corrected.
yes. Everything in the water park.
Yeah.
If you really need to, if you really want it to look good, you
Color
can
correct.
color correct.
Makes it all look
That's
one
it.
seamless video. That's
That's it.
basically
This is
our-
literally that's it. We're just rambling at this point.
If you have any
Y'all probably
specific
could've stopped, like,
questions,
5 minutes
please
ago.
let